I'm really excited about finally, being in a position emotionally where honestly where I'm confident, where I feel bold, and I know I'm going to be able to add value to the audience. So again, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as an influencer, this is going to directly impact my performance. So yet another example of how my emotional growth journey is directly impacting the outcomes, the results, and the performance that I'm wanting to create. Entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers, want to share a huge breakthrough that I've had recently, like literally today. Well, it's kind of been leading up to today. Previously, when I have had speaking engagements, the moments leading up to said speaking engagements have been wrought with a lot of anxiety and stress and concern and worry and doubt and fear and anxiousness as a result of all my people pleasing and insecurities. And and typically that would last, depending on how long I knew about this particular speaking engagement. I mean, it may be, for sure, I would say at least a week out is when everything would begin. All the stress and the anxiety and the pit in the stomach and everything, the doubt, the am I going to provide enough? Am I going to provide any value to these people? Am I going to waste their time? And I don't have anything worth listening to. I don't have any real value. They've heard this before, right? All these different stories that I would tell myself. Well, as I've been growing myself emotionally, so I've got a speaking engagement coming up, and it is probably, well, I had a few last week as well, a few speaking engagements, and same thing. Now, what was interesting is I wasn't conscious of this new state, this new experience, of not having all this emotional turmoil leading up to a speaking engagement, which is, which is massive. Again, for those of you all that maybe have never stressed before, your particular events or whatever you do as an entrepreneur or leader or influencer, maybe this is not a big deal for you, but this is huge for me. This is like the discovery of ice cubes. Like it's it's or the discovery of tacos. Right? Let's right. So it's been game changing. So I had probably 2 or 3 speaking engagements last week with homeschool leaders, and many of you guys know that we homeschool using a program called Classical Conversations, and we absolutely love it. And so I had a couple of speaking engagements there, and I didn't have all the stress and anxiety that I normally have had leading up to an event. Hoping people like me, hoping I get affirmed and validated while I'm speaking, all this stuff, right? Subconsciously. None of this was conscious. It was all subconscious. Now, the blessing was those 2 speaking engagements that I had with them, I didn't have that anxiety, but I wasn't self-aware enough to even notice that I didn't have the anxiety. Well, leading into this speaking engagement, man, now I'm totally noticing that I don't have that anxiety. I don't have that stress. I don't have that people pleaser addiction series of emotions. Are they going to like me? Are they going to affirm me, validate me? Am I going to waste their time? Do I have anything valuable to say? All this stuff. Those stories are not running through my head and causing literally physical, like, where I could physically feel that stress and anxiety in my body. So not just mentally and emotionally, but physically I would feel that. My stomach would be in knots, my throat would be in knots. And so now again, this is maybe the third time now in the last week or so that, man, I feel confident. I feel bold. I am excited to add value because of my, over 2 decades of business experience and leadership experience and entrepreneur experience and, people experience and reading, literally hundreds of books on leadership and people and these different things. And I know I'm going to be able to add value to this this group of leaders and influencers that I'm going to be able to communicate with. Whereas previously, oh my goodness, man, I would be an emotional tornado right now. So I'm really excited about finally, being in a position emotionally where, honestly, where I'm confident, where I feel bold, and where I know I'm going to be able to add value to the audience. So again, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as an influencer, this is going to directly impact my performance. So yet another example of how my emotional growth journey is directly impacting the outcomes, the results, and the performance that I'm wanting to create. So to be able to be able to think clearly and not be clouded with all the emotional tension and anxiety, man, I'm thinking totally clearly. Guys, I can't even tell you the it is night and day difference between pre-emotional growth journey and I don't want to say post emotional growth journey, because I'm still very much in the growth journey right now. But I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait to see the outcome, because I am in a completely different emotional and mental space than I've ever been before. And so I feel like it is going to 10x, 30x, 60x, 100x the results and the outcome, because I am calm and cool as pond water right now for this upcoming speaking engagement. And I feel like, there's a section in the Bible, and again, regardless of whatever your faith background is totally fine. I'm a Christian, we're Christians, and so I've got a biblical worldview. But again, whatever your background is, for me, there's a section in Matthew 25, verses 14 to 30 that talks about the parable of the talents. And it's kind of like imagine like a bag of gold, for example. And so this boss man went on a trip, and it said a long trip, so he was gone for a while. I don't know, it could have been weeks, it could have been months, who knows. And he gave to one servant, to one of the employees, he gave basically 5 bags of gold. To another one, he gave 2 bags of gold, and to another one, he gave 1 bag of gold, each based on their initial capacity and bandwidth and ability. Well, the point is, the first 2 doubled their money, and so that's what's interesting is the first 2 doubled it. The last one, who really I can relate with the most, is that last one, because that has been me for most of my life. I have been the guy that's buried my bag of gold in the backyard because I was afraid. Well, again, all the people pleaser addiction consequences of being a people pleaser. And so now finally I feel like I am starting to transition into being the 2 bags of gold guy, and hopefully eventually transition into the 5 bags of gold guy, where I can double the return of God's investment into my life, and not just God's, but all the people that have invested into me, to be able to double the return of their investment into me, using my strengths and talents and abilities, and not being clouded and limited by this people pleaser addiction and by all my emotional baggage and mental baggage and all this other stuff. So I'm so excited to be on this growth journey to see what are the other ways that, and again, it wasn't like, man, I need to really work on being able to communicate and speak and interact with people, engage people from an emotionally healthy perspective. I mean, that's definitely one thing on the list, but my goal has been to grow and change emotionally and go through this healing process and this emotional growth journey. And it's so neat. It's almost like an Easter egg hunt, an emotional Easter egg hunt of how all the cool different ways that I wasn't even expecting that this growth journey is directly impacting my performance, my behavior, my outcomes, my results. So anyway, I hope something resonated with you in this. Would love to hear from you. Please, write a comment or a takeaway below in the thread below, or write a review, subscribe, and we'd love to be a part of your emotional growth journey as well, so that we can change the world by changing your world, by changing you.